Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, Matan. You know, real quick, I want to thank everybody and say that I think I want to nominate this award to my Reformed Orthodox Rabbi, Bill Clinton. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. We are the Game Reactionists, and that was the Video Game Awards for 2023. And you guys have a wonderful night. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and that was the only thing that anyone remembers from Game Awards 2022. I couldn't even tell you anything else about that show or what happened without actually consulting a recap. But that was pretty much the moment of the show.
Well, thankfully, I remember Elden Ring winning last year, which I was totally cool with.
That's right. Yeah, that did happen. I guess. I guess that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. So, but yeah, I don't remember anything else. Anyway, let's get down to brass tacks here. I am Rorschach.
And I'm Spectre.
And we are the Game Reactionists. And tonight we are discussing what, Spectre?
We are discussing the nominations for the Game Awards, which is coming up in just a couple of weeks. They've announced all the nominations. Geoffkeighley came on with a video here, which we're going to go through and kind of analyze the categories. There's 31 categories, which is about 21 more than there needs to be, at least. So we're not gonna obviously spend a lot of time with every single category, but we want to focus on the categories that actually matter, and we'll be breezing through other ones. So I mean, Game Awards, I'm not gonna go on a big rant on it. It is what it is. It's for better or worse, it is kind of this cultural moment, especially with E3 kind of becoming a thing of the past. It is this big kind of cultural gathering of gaming for the year, so it does have some relevancy. It's not completely. It's not like the Oscars where nobody watches it. I mean, it does actually have a viewership to it. So I mean, it does kind of sort of matter.
And sometimes you get some pretty neat trailers or sneak peeks into upcoming. Yeah, I remember a few years back when Elden Ring was announced. That was during a Video Game Awards, and that was one of my favorite games from last year. So sometimes you get some good things out of it. I think these shows are nothing more than a giant 3-hour-long mobile game advertisement. Is really what it is, or live service games and advertisement.
The marketing really does overshadow. The marketing overshadows it when they relegate some major categories to just their goofy little pre-show, and it's hey, by the way, the best blah 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 game for the year was this. Now let's go to this next trailer. It's kind of an afterthought for a lot of these things. So yeah, it is a marketing gimmick. It is that really is the focus of it. But at the same time, you get some pretty funny moments out of it sometimes, like we just saw. Yeah. And, we are interested, of course. I mean, sometimes good games get announced, of course. We are interested in that. And, yeah, I mean, as far as the awards themselves, I don't put a lot of stock into it. I think it's, they've been the exact opposite of transparent on how the entire nomination and voting process works. Really, our votes that you cast on their website really, they admit to you, really don't matter. So, I mean, I don't really consider this the definitive, game of the year or game of whatever category, but nevertheless, it's an interesting thing to talk about and to watch.
Yeah, so the Geoffkeighley doesn't speak for me for my game of the year. All that said, let's get into the nominations. Let's see what we're looking at here.
All right.
Oh, look at this cool intro.
Well, they got some money behind them.
There have been
he's got Doritos and Mountain Dew behind him.
Right? I'd make him sign a Mountain Dew for me if I ever met him.
Sign a package of Doritos.
Yep.
I'm Geoffkeighley, and it is finally time to reveal the nominees across more than 30 categories. And to help select the winners, you can vote in all categories.
Yeah, more than 30. And we'll talk about that as we go through here, which ones you can kind of prune off. I mean, because you really don't need anywhere near that amount. I think even 15 categories is probably pushing it.
Yeah.
I'm honored to get to the task at hand. Here are the nominees as selected by our voting.
But they got to fill out a 3-hour show, so that's why they have it like this.
Yeah.
Best performance, the nominees are
Best
Ed
performance.
Starr as Clive, Final Fantasy 16.
Okay.
Cameron Monaghan as Cal Kestis, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Idris Elba as Solomon Reed, Cyberpunk 2077.
I'm gonna have my
Phantom Liberty. Melanie
website up
Liburd
in the
as
background
Saga
here too, just so I can
Anderson, Alan Wake 2. Neil
see all the
Newall as
nominees in front of me
Astarion,
here.
Baldur's Gate 3. And Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker, Marvel's Spider-Man 2.
I would give this to
Best
Idris.
ongoing game, the nominees
Oh, he
are
just keeps going.
Apex
Okay.
Legends, Cyberpunk
Well, we can kind of pause with some of these too here. So yeah, for that category, I mean that's a legitimate category, so
in the category of best multiplayer presented by
well, he like flew for another one there.
He's flying through them.
We can pause some of this here.
Yeah.
He's got like shit to do, I guess. Yeah, he's just flying. He's flying through this. So pause it a little bit here. So that first category.
Hold on a second. Let's do the first three categories. We had best performance. Category 2 was best art, best performance, best ongoing game, and now we just passed best multiplayer. I guess
right off the bat there, I'll say, best performance. I mean, there's a lot of actors that are in games now, and that's a big part of the story of a lot of games. So I think that's a legitimate category. That second category there, the best ongoing game, I think is a little bizarre. I mean, it just seems like I don't know why that needs to be. That seems like a filler. It seems like fluff to me. So I would right off the bat just get rid of that one right away. Multiplayer is a legit thing. I mean, those are, at least you got two legit categories there. But let's talk about who did you say for best performance that you gave it to?
I would just think that would go. I mean, I didn't see his performance in Cyberpunk, but I mean, I do like Idris Elba as an actor.
I would say Idris Elba. Is it Idris or Idris?
What does it matter? Who cares?
Well, to him it probably does. I mean, you're going to go up to him and say, "Hi, Idris."
Well, if I ever met the guy, yes, I would do that. And if he corrected me, then I'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Idris. I mean Idris." Anyway,
well, I'm going to keep calling him Idris Elba. But anyways, for that first category, I don't have a horse in that race. I didn't play any of those games. I guess you could say I kind of played Star Wars because I played the first game, so I saw the performance. So whatever. We'll go with Idris for that one, I guess, because
I don't want Spider-Man to win any awards. So you know what? I don't care who wins. Anybody could win, as long as it's not anything for Spider-Man. I want Spider-Man to get nothing.
Agreed. Everything I've seen of Spider-Man is completely repulsive to me. So anything, any category with Spider-Man in it, automatically, whatever, anything else is my vote.
Automatically, anything else. So Idris Elba, whatever.
I'm gonna find out. Is it Idris Elba? Hang on. How do you?
And then what was the other category? Ongoing game. I mean, isn't that kind of like? What does that even mean? Wouldn't that fall in line with like an online game? Why not just say best online? I guess the nominations: Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, or Genshin. I've never played any of them. I'd probably assume that Final Fantasy 14 is gonna win. I know that's got a lot of ongoing support. It's pretty popular still, so that would be my pick. And then they just did multiplayer.
I was right, by the way.
Cool.
It's Idris Elba.
Cool. Best multiplayer is
the ongoing game category. I don't give a shit. So whatever, flip a coin, or roll a dice, or roll a die between those. And best multiplayer though, that's a legit category. Let's take a look at that.
So we got Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, and Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Now I have played Party Animals. That is a game on Game Pass, and I did check that out with a couple of buddies of mine on Xbox before my Game Pass expired. It was fun. It's kind of like a modern, it's a modern party game, except you play as animal creatures and you're kind of all, worming around.
Is it kind of like Fall Guys style, or some more Mario Party-ish?
Yeah, like Fall Guys meets Mario Party, because like there's games like you're playing like football where you're trying to take the ball from each other and try to run it into the end zone. So it's a blend. It was fun. We had some laughs with it. It's not something I would play it regularly, but it's one of those games, you get a couple buddies and you play around with it.
So you have that. I hear great things. I'm not a Street Fighter guy, but I hear great things about Street Fighter 6. Obviously, we've all heard amazing things about Baldur's Gate 3. I've not gotten to that yet. I'm saving that for 2024. Diablo, I talked about my opinion on Diablo extensively well, not like super extensively, but go watch the Blizzard BlizzCon reaction video. So I'm plugging my other video for that one. But yeah, no, I'm kind of done with Diablo, so I don't want Diablo to win this one.
Okay.
And Super Mario Brothers Wonder, I hear amazing things about too. So really, yeah, this is actually a competitive category. It's really hard to say.
Super Mario Brothers Wonder, I'm a big fan of. I like it. I don't know if it belongs in the multiplayer section because it does have a multiplayer aspect to the game, but it's not like true multiplayer. I mean, you can play with other people. Well, I guess it's got the couch co-op feature to it. I forgot about that. I've been playing single player by myself. So I forgot that you can play with other people. So I guess I'll recant. I'll recant what I said. It's got a multiplayer feature, and I'm wrong. So
you're wrong.
Moving along.
No, I think you have two actual like dedicated multiplayer games here. I think that's Party Animals and Street Fighter 6. Those are games that are kind of designed to be played with other people, whereas everything else here can kind of be played solo to some degree,
right?
Or is almost better solo, arguably. So I think it's probably a toss up between those two. Probably Street Fighter 6 should win that.
Okay. Best art direction.
Nominees for best art direction are Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
This is a tough one.
For best,
so I do like this category because I do appreciate the art of video games. The aesthetic, the environments that you're playing in. That's part of the reason why you play games, in my opinion. I think they have some good games.
It's a legit category. Yeah, I mean, for this one in particular, I don't have strong feelings about any one of these really. I don't think I've really played any of one of these other than unless you count Lies of P demo. I haven't really touched any of these. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's a tough one. I don't really have a strong opinion on this one. Maybe give it to, I don't know. Maybe give it to like Mario or something. I don't know. Or maybe Lies of P looked all right. I kind of like the aesthetic of that world to some degree.
I think this is going to be
steampunky aesthetic.
I'm in agreement with you. I really love the world of Lies of P. But I think this is one where Zelda's going to take it. No questions asked. Just because it's a Zelda game. And Tears of the Kingdom really was a beautiful game. It's a game that should not have looked as well and operated as well as it did, considering it is on the Nintendo Switch. The R&D that went into that game, kudos to Nintendo on making that game function the way they did, because it should not have worked out that well.
I kind of want them to get away from that, for the next, whatever the next Zelda incarnation looks like. I kind of want them to try something a little bit more bold and different with their art style. It's starting to feel. I mean, I know, obviously it's a sequel to Breath of the Wild, but I mean, it just feels a little samey. I'd like to see something that's kind of like sort of like a really stark contrast. And like, remember like when we first saw Wind Waker, it was like, whoa, like this is so different from everything. I want something that's sort of like kind of out of left field.
We're probably gonna get that with the next system. Anyway, moving on. Best score and music. I would consider this a category too. We've done vinyl videos on our channels. I think it's safe to say we're both video game music fans. So let's see what they got here.
Score and music. The nominees are Alan Wake 2, composer Petri Alanko. Baldur's Gate 3, composer Borislav Slavov. Final Fantasy 16, composer Masayoshi Soken. Hi-Fi Rush, audio director Shuichi Kobori. And The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, composed by Nintendo Sound Team. The best audio
Okay, so the only game I'm familiar with the score and music is Tears of the Kingdom, and it was definitely a step up from Breath of the Wild. it just really, in my opinion, lacked that traditional oomph that you've gotten from Zelda games in the past when it comes to their score and their music. You know,
Was it like instantly recognizable, you'd say?
I would say it's instantly recognizable, yes. But it's just not. It doesn't have that punch in the gut like the Majora's Mask soundtrack or the Twilight Princess soundtrack or the Ocarina of Time soundtrack. And it's not to say it's forgettable. It's just kind of like in the middle of the pack. It's good, it exists, but it just doesn't stand up to its older brothers in terms of quality, if that makes sense.
It's not iconic like
Put it this way, if it comes down to putting on Majora's Mask or Tears of the Kingdom soundtrack, I'm going to put on Majora's Mask all day. Or Ocarina of Time, or Link to the Past even. That's what I can say about that. All the other games, Final Fantasy I know is Masayoshi Soken. I think he's the standard bearer in terms of composing Final Fantasy music. I could be mistaken. But Final Fantasy music has always been, in my opinion, really good. Really entertaining to listen to.
I'm with you. I'm with you there. Yeah. So I would think that would be a legitimate one. Even though, like I said, I haven't played 16. I'll wait for the PC release on it. But I'm with you there. Baldur's Gate 3, like I said, we haven't really touched that one just yet. I don't know if you're planning to play it. But
no, I honestly, that's a game where it's just like I'm really. I don't think it's a live service game, but I'm really just trying to get away from those big, huge open world games. I'm trying to get back into games that are just have really good replayability to them and just stuff that I can, sink my teeth in over and over again multiple times. I'm getting to a point where it's just like, man, I don't want to be spending 40, 50, 60 hours on a game, on one game when I have the backlog that I have.
Yeah, understandable there. And I think the last thing there too, I mean, I don't think anyone's played Alan Wake 2, so I don't know what that's doing here.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know anything about Alan Wake 2. I really liked the first game. I know the first game didn't really stand out for you, but I did play the remaster. I remember playing it originally on the 360, thought it was good then, but never finished it. And then I bought the remaster on sale for like $20 last year, and I played through the entire thing, and I thought it was a solid game. The music was okay; it didn't really stand out to me, but it was fine. I'm sure the same goes for Alan Wake 2. I'm sure the music is fine. But
it's probably good, like decent background music. I mean, I played Control, that was there. I played that to completion, and I don't remember anything about like the soundtrack for that whatsoever. Remedy's really good about making like really nice looking worlds. I don't really, I can't say I remember a single like soundtrack or anything from Control.
Okay. If I had to pick a winner, I'd say it's a toss up between Baldur's Gate 3 or Final Fantasy 16.
I'm with you there. I agree.
Tears of the Kingdom would probably be the dark horse on this one, where it's just like, oh wow, you guys, okay, you liked Zelda, good for you guys. But moving right along, looks like we're doing best audio design. I'm actually liking most of these categories. The only one I don't care for is ongoing.
They haven't gotten to the shit yet. Yeah.
Yeah. So far, ongoing, I agree with you. Can be gotten rid of. Everything else, I'm fine with. So best audio design.
Design nominees are Alan Wake 2, Dead Space,
Okay.
Marvel's Spider-Man 2,
No.
and Resident Evil 4. Best adaptation.
What did we say before about Spider-Man? Yeah.
Nothing for Spider-Man. Fucking big fat thumbs down for Spider-Man. I hope they go home empty. And I have never hated a game so much before in my life, man. Oh, I'm so pissed about that.
They're not going to go home empty-handed, but yeah.
They're not going to go home empty-handed, but a guy can hope. Best audio design. So I've played 3 of these 5 games. I've played Resident Evil 4 quite extensively, Spider-Man 2 begrudgingly, and Dead Space. And I would probably give my pick to Dead Space. The reason being is because, and granted, I don't know anything about Alan Wake 2 or Hi-Fi Rush, but I did when the Dead Space remake was first announced. They would do like little video vignettes with the development team, and like they went into detail about how they were going to redo the audio specifically, and like recapture Isaac's breathing and how his movements and how all those sounds would be different based on whatever given situation you're in. So if you're in more tense situations, the breathing would be more frantic. If you were just in a calm like corridor by yourself, nothing going on, it would be more relaxed. And I remember hearing that in the Dead Space remake, which I was a big fan of. It's a game that I do intend to go back to for additional playthroughs, because the small little socio-political crap in there, it's forgettable for me, so I can forgive it, because I legitimately enjoyed the remake, and I thought
I enjoyed it quite a bit too. I played for the whole thing several times, got all the stuff done for it, finished the game as much as you could possibly finish it. I'd agree with you. I think the sound design was really well done overall. There are, of course, I mean, for a fan, a big fan of the first game, there's some nitpicky things there. I still say the change sound effect for one enemy in particular actually kind of ruins that enemy for me, because the original sound effect for it was so iconic and instantly recognizable, and it kind of needed to be because of the nature of the enemy.
Which enemy was that?
There's an explosive enemy. It kind of looks like
sort
of like an amputated guy with like a big like pulsating, that blows up when you shoot it, or you can dismember him and kind of use it as a projectile of your own, and it would have this very distinct shriek to it where it's like as soon as it comes into the room, it's like, okay, oh shit, I better look around, where is it, and whereas in this it still makes a distinct sound. It's just very it's not like it like this. There was times where I think I actually died once or twice because where the hell was that? I didn't hear it coming,
Sure.
So I mean, other than nitpicking
that's a nitpicky thing that nobody gives a shit
overall
about.
Though, yes, the sound design is great for it. I enjoyed it, especially it's a good game though, like to have headphones on for as well too.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I agree with you there. Go with Dead Space for that category.
Yeah, and runner-up would be Resident Evil 4 in my opinion. That one was
also great. Great game. Yeah, played for that too.
The sound design in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, it just really wasn't. It's not terrible. I'll be objective here. It's not terrible sound design. It just doesn't stand out. It kind of does some of the same things that I alluded to with Dead Space. When you're web slinging as Peter Parker as Spider-Man, or web slinging as Miles Morales if he's talking to somebody, will kind of talk in a manner of like when he's in the middle of physical activity, like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get there. Hold on 1 second. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. So they do put like thought into it. I'll give them credit on that, but I don't think it's superior by any means to games like Dead Space or Resident Evil 4. Alan Wake 2 and Hi-Fi Rush I can't speak to because I don't know anything about them. So moving right along.
Recognizes excellence in authentically creating shows, movies, and other creative endeavors based on video game worlds and characters.
What is this?
Here are this year's nominees for Best Adaptation.
Okay, I don't like this either. I mean, video game movies and TV shows have always been such shit. And just by the nature of them, I don't like that as a category for put that like in like not that the Oscars ever would care about it, but that's more of a movie category.
That's a movie category.
Yeah, put it for the Emmys. Put it for the Emmys. It doesn't with the Oscars or would the Emmys ever have, here's the best video game adaptation of our TV show or the best video game adaptation of our movie? No, they don't, because they would be ridiculous. So yeah, take the axe to this category. If I had to choose something here, I did enjoy the Mario movie. It's the least repulsive of all these. I would go for the Mario movie if I was forced to choose. Yeah. But yeah, get rid of this category. It sucks. It doesn't belong here.
Best narrative. All right. Well, I mean, so far I'm seeing quite a few games missing here. But
yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Suspiciously. Well, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3,
Cyberpunk 2077: Phantom Liberty. Final Fantasy.
I don't know how I feel about Cyberpunk being there either. That's a DLC. I mean,
Games for Impact.
I don't know.
Spider-Man 2. Okay, so best narrative. I mean, come on, man. Like, Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, DLC for Cyberpunk, Final Fantasy 16. Now I haven't played through it. Spider-Man 2, nope, fuck no, not good narrative.
So no Spider-Man immediately.
No Spider-Man immediately.
I'm assuming
I'm just gonna call this video the Video Game Awards nominations announcements. No Spider-Man wins.
Actually, that's gonna remind me. I'm gonna go ahead and just for a reminder for later and for my thumbnail, I'm just gonna put no Spider-Man or like
just nothing for Spider-Man.
No.
I guess only having played one of these games, I'm just gonna say I did play the demo for Final Fantasy 16. It's definitely in a setting in terms of like the environment. It's in a setting that I feel like I would enjoy. I'm going to go with Final Fantasy 16 or Baldur's Gate 3. Either one of those. Baldur's Gate 3 I'd like to see win just because Larian Studios, they produced and published the game themselves. And they put a lot of work and care into it, it seems.
I'm actually legitimately. I mean, there's their own controversies with the game. We all remember the bear sex videos and all that stuff that came out for, and there's their own controversy, I guess you could say, you could have for that game. But I mean, on the whole, it seems like it delivered exactly what the fans wanted overall. It's a fun experience. There's definitely a lot of discussion and debate about it, so it's something I plan on checking out. I'm going to do that in 24, and I'll probably talk about it then. So I'd be happy with that winning. Maybe Final Fantasy 16. Cyberpunk, I hear good things about that DLC. I just don't know on a technicality standpoint, does a DLC count? Maybe I'm splitting hairs too much here, but does that count as a full game narrative?
I don't think a DLC should count. I really don't. I don't think it should.
Why maybe not? If we were back in the 90s and you had like an expansion pack, which back then an expansion pack was more like a full game, then I could see that. But nowadays, I don't know. I just don't like that idea for that category.
Yeah. All right, moving along. Games for Impact. This sounds like a wash category.
Oh boy, yeah.
A Space for the Unbound, Chance of Sonar, by Volcano High, Chia, Terra Nil, and Ben.
Probably not going to say a whole lot of any of these things. Don't care about any of that.
This is I call it the games for lefties category.
Lefties category.
It's pretty much what it is. Let's be honest here. We aren't even going to really discuss it, but yeah, just get rid of that category completely. It's another one that you can just instantly get rid of.
Best mobile game, indie game.
Mobile game.
I actually want to go back to the indie games. Which game was it? Dave the Diver, I think it was. Okay, so there was a controversy I heard about this from a fellow YouTuber. I think it's Dave the Diver, is developed by Mint Rocket Games. Mint Rocket Games net worth. Okay, so Mint Rocket Games is a sub-brand from Nexon. Okay, so Dave the Diver is developed by Mint Rocket Games, who is owned by Nexon. Any guesses as to what Nexon's net worth is as of November 10th, 2023?
I'm guessing it's pretty high, astronomical.
$18.71 billion.
They're a scrappy young independent studio.
How the fuck does that qualify for an independent studio?
That's another thing where it's
like Call of Duty Mobile being nominated as best indie game, man. Like, you're fucking backed by Activision and now Microsoft. I mean, what the fuck?
I guess it depends on how you see it. Like, if they're like a little tiny developer, but they're being, contracted by this giant corporation. I mean, it does. Yeah, it kind of blurs the line of what's actually an independent indie game at that point. Like when I think of an indie game, I think of like a passion project of like a small team or like one guy. I don't think of like, okay, I'm working for this large monolithic corporation.
I think of games like Limbo. Like Limbo was developed by an indie studio, right? When that first came out. Like, it was just a basic platformer, or am I mistaken? Was Limbo made by some big conglomerate?
Wasn't like I mean like Braid was like that to some degree. I'm trying to think of like good examples of that. Out of this world for an old ancient example was made by like one guy, like some French guy. I can't remember his name. But that was made by one guy by himself essentially. From what I remember. So I mean, yeah, that's what I think of like what comes to mind when I think of indie. I think of like a small team, not like this giant like, EA or Sony sized, team with hundreds of people running around. Yeah, I think it's something like a smaller, type of studio or one person.
Okay, so here's something here's something cool. I just looked up NeoWiz Games. They're the developers behind Lies of P. I was a big fan of Lies of P because it perfectly rips off the formula of the Soulsborne games. And I am the Soulsborne aficionado of the channel. I love those games. Definitely. They're a lot of fun. And I enjoy the hell out of them. NeoWiz Games net worth, or market cap, I should say. So this may be even small. Their net worth may be even smaller than this number. As of November 2023, any guess as to what their net worth is?
Not $5 billion.
It's not 18.71 billion. It's not 5 billion. It's 0.45 billion, which is, what is that? 450 million?
Yeah.
Lies of P deserves to be in this category more than Dave the Diver.
Yeah, it's more of an indie title
than
right?
Dave the Diver by comparison.
Once again, this comes back to this whole nebulous, nomination process.
I'm getting another drink.
Go ahead. Yeah, it comes back to this whole nebulous nomination process. We don't, we don't see how the sausage is made here. Like, I mean, how are these categories defined? How are they picked? All we get is like a little blurb on the website, saying what this is. Best. Like best indie game, we get like a one sentence reply of like what it says it is here, so I mean it's we don't really get to see like how this is actually being picked. This whole thing is just another aspect of the marketing side of the show. This isn't really necessarily to try to laud and and draw attention to the greatest games in each category. It's kind of a marketing thing to a large extent, if not mostly what it is. But but yeah, I don't see that as an indie game. And what was the other category we had there? Mobile game.
Yeah, and so the next category after this was mobile games. Who cares about that? We'll just
and that's another.
Right
I mean,
that.
yes, that's another category I think we could probably get rid of as well too. I mean, mobile games. I mean, let's be honest. None of them. I mean, they're these gotcha things. They're these Skinner boxes. They're designed to just drain you of money. They're almost all of them are designed like that. None of them have like this rich narrative, unless they're a port of like a console game or a PC game. They're not really designed to have this rich narrative. They're designed to drain your wallet, and they're designed so you have mindless fun, like when you're on a bus or something or whatever. I mean, there's a place for that, but I don't think we need to celebrate that anymore. It's any more than we would celebrate like what's the best like carnival ride at a fair or whatever. Like, I mean, I don't need to. I mean, it's mindless entertainment and it just drains your money. It's there's no artistry to it here.
All right, so moving right along.
All right, what's next?
Best community support.
Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077.
I mean, I don't hate this category. I kind of like the idea of a game being sort of actively developed after it's launched and after it's kind of seen its peak, I guess you could say. I mean, I come from kind of the MMO world, so I'm kind of used to this idea of games going all the way back, even way back to the 2000s, just of games being continually developed for and expanded upon. So I don't hate this category. So I'm okay with this one. I don't know which game would really fit the best for this category because I haven't played any of these. So I don't have like an opinion on this one, but I don't hate this category, existentially as it is,
My opinion is, I think Destiny 2 could win this category. Having been a former Destiny 2 player, the community of Destiny 2, by and large, is very, very tight. Everybody was always willing to help people out. Yeah, you'd have a couple, the occasional, jerk offs who didn't want to help you out with anything or got, persnickety during raids or whatever. But by and large, anytime I did like LFGs on Destiny 2.
So it's a good community, but what about, I mean, how's Bungie handled the game though?
In terms of like
updates, have the patches been good? Have the expansions been good?
I
That's
think
kind of what they're going for this one.
I would say I mean, I was a day one beta tester of Destiny 1 and I played the game religiously up until February or March of this year. And I think the last year or so the writing was on the wall that the content was going stale. And maybe it was just because I was sick and tired of grinding the same type of activities. The raids were always fun. The new raids would be fun. The new dungeons would be fun. The new special missions to get your exotic weapons or gears would be fun. But it was always the pain of having to go through the basic strikes or missions to properly level yourself up to be able to get to those points. That was always like, I'm just so sick of doing this. I'm so sick of, you don't know this term, but I'm so sick of doing activities in the helm. Or I'm so sick of doing these strikes. I'm so sick of doing these fucking gambit missions or whatever. It's just like...
So they added content to the game, but there was never much variety to it, it sounds like.
I'd say within the last year or two, the variety.
So maybe they're not the best choice for this award then. You know what I mean?
Well, this is the only one I've played out this category. I haven't played Cyberpunk 2077. I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 just came out this year, and with all the praise it's gotten, I don't know. I'd be a little remiss to giving a brand new game this award because the time hasn't really lapsed to determine that it's got strong community support, if that makes sense. I think it's...
I would disagree for that one because Baldur's Gate has been in early access for over a year.
Oh, okay. I did not know.
Yeah, so but I mean, we don't really. It's hard for us to judge this category because only one of us has even played even one game on here. So
right. So I'm just basing my own anecdotal experiences. I would probably give it to Destiny 2. Not that I have any affiliation to them or any loyalty to Bungie or anything like that. I just remember when I was playing the game, the last year aside, I would always have fun. And really, it's my Game Pass expired. I'm done with live for service games. I've just kind of outgrown it. And I think that was the biggest thing is just I've outgrown these kinds of games and I'm just ready to move on. Would you
say to kind of cap off that category though? Would you say okay, Destiny? They announced Destiny 3 this year at Game Awards. Are you excited? Are you going to play it?
No.
Okay.
I'm done. And that's just because I'm done with live service games. Like I just want nothing to do with them anymore. I don't want to do any subscriptions or anything like that. I'm moving on. I'm wiping my hands clean. I had a blast with Destiny and Destiny 2. I truly did. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. I mean, I had both games across multiple platforms, and I played, 3 characters on each platform for God knows how many hours. I clearly got my time and my money was worth out of the game. I'm moving on. That's all it is. No hard feelings, Bungie. Hope you get your shit together because I know you guys got some staff issues.
But you're moving on, and we're moving on to the next category.
And we're moving on to best debut indie game.
Oh, okay. Another one here. Get rid of this one. Right, this is redundant. Okay, we just had the best indie category.
Right.
Redundant. You cut it for time. Get rid of this, please.
Best VR AR game.
Okay, come on. Okay, This is like a joke. We may as well have what game had the best trailer or commercial at this point. Best VR game.
What did I do?
What'd you do? It's okay. At least they got everything kind of clearly marked on there. But I don't know. I'm very much in the category of I don't think VR has any kind of VR just is not there yet. I've tried VR plenty. I used to own a headset as well too. I don't think VR is there yet. I don't think the technology is there yet for it to be a really fun immersive experience. Maybe outside of maybe like pornographic use or something like that. I don't think it is. I mean, to be blunt, I think it's the only use it might have at this point. If you're going to get a VR headset, but I don't know. Some people like their Quests or whatever, their Oculus Quest, but I mean, to be honest, for me, it gives me motion sickness. It gives me a headache. I'm not into it. I don't think the technology is there yet for it, and I don't really consider the category legitimate. Every VR game usually controls. I played a good number of them too. Controls awful. They're very gimmicky. I see this sort of like the modern incarnation of mobile or of motion controls. I think it's very gimmicky. I don't really think it has a purpose. Not yet, at least. Maybe 20, 30 years in the future, it might.
I did enjoy Resident Evil 7 in VR. I thought it was very heart-pounding, and I thought it was a good game to experience in VR. I gotta imagine Village is probably similar. The only other game on there that honestly piqued my interest was Synapse, and that's because David Hayter is voiced in that. And man, does he, whatever you think of the guy personally, that man has just an instantly recognizable voice. I think we were watching the PlayStation Showcase, and that game.
That's right. I think you talked about that one, didn't you? Yeah.
Well, we were watching the trailer. It wasn't live in real time, but neither of us had seen anything. At least I didn't. And I was just like, wait a minute, is that David Hayter in there? And I looked it up. I was like, holy shit, yeah, I knew that voice. I love his voice. He's one of my favorite voice actors of all time. He is Solid Snake, for those who don't know. And he's been involved in other projects. He's been involved in movie projects, too. So I would probably play Synapse just out of curiosity of, like, what his role in that game truly was. But yeah, otherwise, throw away the category. Speaking of another banger category,
we're getting into the garbage here, really.
Oh man, content creator of the year.
People make games.
Oh no shit! People make games. Who knew?
What's your most anticipated?
Oh yeah, you're completely garbage category. Please get rid of it. And we're saying this as people. I mean, obviously we don't have a huge platform here or audience, but I even as quote unquote content creators, there's no place for that in this. This should be about a celebration of games, not people who watch games,
right.
or play games. That would be like I said, that'd be like at the Oscars if they had the best critic or whatever. Like, I mean, it's just kind of a ridiculous category.
Most anticipated game. So this will be interesting because we don't really know a whole lot of what's coming out in 2024.
Yeah, 2024 looks pretty barren. Okay, at least this is a legit category. I don't have a problem with this one.
All right, let's check it out.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah.
Hades 2.
I
Like
can
a
see
Dragon
that.
Infinite Wealth. Star Wars Outlaws.
Definitely
No.
not. No.
Tekken 8.
Okay.
And
I know
Tekken's
that's
good. Okay. Yeah, so you had I mean Final Fantasy looks pretty good. I still got to finish up the first one. I got like halfway through it. The first part of it.
I finished that fucking game already, man. What's taking you so long?
Yeah, I know.
It's a good game. It's legitimately a good game. You don't have to care about the storyline. It is a fun, solid action RPG. It is a solid game.
I want them to kind of wrap up Final Fantasy VII, though. I know we have another part after this, or hopefully at least one more. Like, it's just going to be one more part, not like two parts.
No, it's going to be a 3-parter. They already said it's going to be a 3-parter because the original discs were 3 discs. Oh no, they were 2 discs. No, they were
by
2
ancient
discs.
law.
Yeah,
by ancient law standard, yeah, we have to do that. But no, I want them to finish it up. So I mean, maybe they'll move on to the next, remake. I'm holding out hope for a Final Fantasy X remake because that was my personal favorite. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it looks good. Tekken obviously looks great. I am picking up Tekken. That's the one. That's the one I'm going to be buying day one out of those at least. I will get Final Fantasy eventually when it comes over to PC. But yeah, I mean, I think this is.
I thought you're getting the Sephiroth edition.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, well, that's not really getting the game. I won't be playing it. It's more so just for the collectible side of it, and my wife's really into that series, so it's kind of more so a gift than anything else. But we will be doing an unboxing of it, so she's offered it up for us to do, and I'm actually kind of excited to see how the statue looks, because the first collector's edition for the first game turned out pretty nice, actually.
That statue is nice looking. Yeah, I am a little regrettable that I didn't get it, but I'm at the same point, I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I know I'm not that big of a Final Fantasy fan. I did like Final Fantasy VII Remake. I will get Rebirth Day 1, because there probably won't be a whole lot for me to play in the beginning of 2024 anyway. Well, Mario vs. Donkey Kong comes out on Switch.
Oh, so yeah, you got your 10D stuff, yeah.
Hey man, don't hate me because I'm pretty. Star Wars Outlaws, nah. Like a Dragon.
That looks like hot garbage.
Isn't Like a Dragon part of like the Yakuza games? Or?
Yeah, it is. So I got nothing against that series. I hear good things. It probably would be something I would like to play. I think I tried it once back on the PS3 and I just wasn't quite into it at the time. But it's a very it's kind of a silly game in a lot of ways. There's a lot of humor in it.
Yeah.
So I probably would be into it. It's very Japanese from the looks of it, which I like. So I probably would try it eventually. I wouldn't definitely. I'm not into the series right now, but I would try it.
Hades 2. I've heard Hades good things about the first Hades, so I'm sure the second game will be just as fine. I guess any one of these can win except Star Wars Outlaws, because much like Spider-Man, I don't want Star Wars anything to win anything ever.
Yeah, Star Wars. That's a whole separate rant video itself.
Call us a couple of crotchety old men, but you know what? You guys have ruined the things that we loved, and so we're giving it right back to you. Best action adventure game. Let's see what they got going on here.
For best action adventure game are Alan Wake 2, Marvel's Spider-Man 2,
Nope.
Resident Evil 2, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and The Legend of Zelda.
This is a tough one, man.
For best role
for that.
That's a tough one.
I don't know about that category. Like, I mean, I think they need to define better what they mean by action adventure. And for Resident Evil, I mean, I guess, I don't know. When I think of that,
it's action adventure.
I mean, I guess so, but I don't know. It's kind of a nebulous category. But for that one, I would say, I played Resident Evil, really enjoyed that quite a bit. I don't know why Alan Wake 2 keeps popping up here in every fucking category, but it's seriously, it's like nominated for like half these categories so far.
Yeah.
It's that and Spider-Man.
Yeah. Fuck them.
But they're definitely
fuck Spider-Man. I can't say anything about Alan Wake 2.
It's not going home empty-handed. I can promise you. Not this many categories.
I wish Alan Wake 2 would have came out on a physical disc. I would have bought it day one, because I did like the first game legitimately. Shame on you, Remedy, for not doing the right thing. But continue.
Yeah, for that category, I mean, I guess I would just pick Resident Evil 4 by default because it's the one I played.
Okay.
But definitely not Jedi Survivor, unless Jedi Survivor is a huge. I played Fallen Order, the first game. Unless it's a huge monumental leap over the first game, I don't think that deserves that much praise. It's a nice looking game. It's a nice mindless game to play, but it's not great in my opinion. It's a very average game. And obviously Zelda, of course, it gets a tremendous amount of praise. So I think this should really be in a sane world. This should be between Resident Evil 4 and Zelda.
And this is a tough one for me too, because I really loved Resident Evil 4. I played it about 4 or 5 times between PlayStation 5 and Xbox. And of course Zelda is, my cup of tea. I guess if I'm looking at this in terms of a sheer replayability, I'd probably give it to Resident Evil 4. The problem with Tears of the Kingdom, which is the same issue with a lot of these big open world video games, the replayability is just not there.
You just kind of want to check off all the boxes and be done with it, right? I mean, whereas
right.
Resident Evil 4 is more,
it's
more
replayable. I can skip the cutscenes. I can run through everything. I can finish the game on hardcore mode in 4.5 hours. Done. And
now you got the DLC, the separate ways on top of that too,
right? Which
I'm going for right now. So
right, and I mean, Tears of the Kingdom, you could probably speed run that, and this isn't a bad quality. But for me, if I were to do another replay of Tears of the Kingdom, I'd want to do the other objectives and side quests, and I'd just be distracted again, and then I'm sucked into another 50, 60 hour experience, and then my backlog gets, backed up again. So I guess with this, I would just give it to Resident Evil 4, just purely on a replayability aspect.
I think it's a coin toss between Resident Evil 4 and Zelda.
Yeah. If Zelda wins, hey, I'll be happy. If Resident Evil 4 wins, I'll be happy. No Spider-Man, no Star Wars. Best role-playing game, you're next.
The jury selected Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah,
Final
that's kind of a
Fantasy
given,
16,
right?
Lost,
Yeah.
So is that.
Sea of
Okay.
Stars, and Starfield. In the
Oh,
definitely
wow.
not.
Hold on a second. Is that I think that's the first nomination of Starfield, eh?
Yeah, that was the passion project that we've wanted to make for 20 years. They said, but never were given the chance. So, but yeah, okay, let me pull it up here. Let's see, roll.
Okay, so no Starfield, right?
Yeah, definitely not Starfield. I think this is between Baldur's Gate
And Final Fantasy.
and Final Fantasy.
Dark Horse would be Lies of P. Like, that would just be...
And Lies of P is it really like a strict RPG? It's more of an action game mixed, like it's like an action RPG. Like I would categorize Souls in that kind of that sort of vein.
You know what? With the way that Final Fantasy games are nowadays, it really blurs the lines.
I guess so, yeah, because Final Fantasy's really kind of gone in that direction too. So
yeah,
I guess you could say that.
I think ultimately this is a for sure win for Baldur's Gate 3 anyway. I don't think anybody in their right mind is going to vote against that in terms of best role playing game.
If I was a betting man, I'd say that I'd put that as my pick for this category.
Yeah. All right, best fighting game. Let's see what we got here.
Best fighting game. The nominees are God of Rock, Mortal Kombat
I don't think I've even heard of God of Rock.
Nickelodeon's All-Star Brawl 2, Pocket Bravery,
I haven't heard of that either.
Street Fighter 6.
Oh, okay. So for that category, I would assume, like, I'm not a Street Fighter fan. I'm a Tekken guy, but I would assume Street Fighter kind of has to win that one. I hear great things about it. It was very well reviewed, very well received, and the other half of that list there I haven't even heard of. So I would say it's got to be Street Fighter 6. That one.
I would say Mortal Kombat 1 because I also heard that it was well received, well reviewed, and I was always a Mortal Kombat guy over Street Fighter. So I guess if either one of those won, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't care either way. I'd say
we should almost do like bets on some of these. Like I'm positive Street Fighter's going to win that. I'm like positive it's going to win that.
I'd be inclined to agree with you because Street Fighter I feel like has a better following than Mortal Kombat as of late. But I still see a lot of people talking about it, people posting about it, and stuff like that. It's just out there. Whereas for Mortal Kombat, it was more so along the lines of I'm in very negative circles of the community, but I mean it was definitely more. It had more of a negative slant to it as compared to Street Fighter. Mortal Kombat 1 did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, just taking a drink of my beverages here. Best action game. So, another redundant category. We just had best action adventure game. Now we have best action game. Why not roll all of these into one?
Yeah. How crazy can we get? Should we have Resident Evil and best action horror game? Should we do best action racing game? Best action.
For best action,
All right, let's see. We got best action game here.
Armored Core 6,
Hey, there you go.
Rubicon,
Finally,
Your game got something. All right, good for you.
2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2.
I've actually heard good things about Remnant 2.
I heard good things about Remnant 2. I heard good things about Hi-Fi Rush, but if Armored Core does not win that, then I've kind of lost faith in things. I mean, the game was a huge success. Like I said, it's bringing the series back. I know, of course, it didn't sell as well as Elden Ring, whatever, but nobody expected it to. So,
Armored Core has always been a niche title from software anyway. I mean, which is kind of, I don't know the right term, but From Software generally produces niche titles in general, right? I mean, they had
until they had their
followings.
massive hit with the Souls series. Yeah, and that's kind of what they're known for. Yeah, they've had a lot of more well done, well received titles, and I mean obviously Armored Core had a ton of games. I mean, clearly they were making money off of it. They were successful with it, but yeah, it was more of a niche thing, and this is. The sales on that game alone have been, I think, probably more than the rest of the game series thus far. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a huge success. It definitely deserves, the nebulous action category, whatever that means. It deserves an award.
I will say, Armored Core 6. Yeah, I want them to win. I like From Software, and so I want them to keep the shekels coming in, man. Keep them coming in. Put out more games, because if Armored Core 6 is a success, that means Dark Souls 4 will be a success, or Bloodborne 2, because those will ultimately be the next games. We're already getting the Elden Ring DLC next year, and then I gotta imagine we're gonna get some type of mainline Soulsborne-esque game, whether it's another Elden Ring, or another Dark Souls, or another Bloodborne. And then after those, you'll probably get your itch scratched again with either some type of Armored Core DLC or a brand new Armored Core game. In general,
see, it kind of brings a harmony to our opinions. We always go back and forth about Dark Souls and stuff like that. But now I have a reason to actually care about Dark Souls because I want it to be successful, because that means that if From Software is doing great,
they get more money.
They make more money. They're going to make more games, and inevitably they're going to make more Armored Core games that way. So I have a reason to give a shit now.
All right. Innovation and accessibility. Speaking of categories to give a shit about. All right.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
I'm just going to let this keep playing. We can talk over it. We're already going an hour into the video, too. Like, Jesus. We talk too much. No, not Spider-Man.
Yeah, definitely not Spider-Man. I got nothing against accessibility or anything. That's fine, but it doesn't need an award category. That's another one you can prune off of this easily.
Sonic Superstars and Super Mario Brothers.
Well, that's got to be between
Mario
and
Pikmin.
Yeah, that's got to be Mario, or maybe Pikmin, but probably Mario. Sim strategy. Let's see.
Cities. Company of Heroes 3. Okay.
I play Company of Heroes 3. I do like it.
And Pikmin 4.
It's probably going to go to Pikmin,
Probably
but
Pikmin.
I did enjoy Company of Heroes. I got to play it more, though.
Sports FC 24. F1 23.
I don't really care about this category.
It's going to be
not
Forza.
my thing. Probably Forza, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Crew Motorfest.
Or we'll also be happy with Hot Wheels.
Esports categories, starting with
Oh, God.
esports game.
Okay, yeah, here they come. Okay, so yes, these are just get rid of these.
Counter-Strike 2 will win.
Yeah, give it to to get any win for Valve is good, but esports, just get rid of all these esports. Get rid of any esports category here, please. We don't care about. Nobody cares about this stuff.
Yeah, I mean.
And Zywoo. For best esports team.
Oh my God, esports team now?
Yeah, and then they have, I think, coaches coming up too.
Get the fuck out! A coach too?
Game and Gladiators, Dota 2.
What are we doing? We should get involved in this. Honestly, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna get a PC,
Potter.
a proper gaming PC again,
Gumba.
and then we'll hone our skills on Counter-Strike, and then we'll make a team. And then esports event? Come on,
what categories
dude.
is this?
League of Legends World
Hold on.
Championship.
1,
Last TV
2,
Paris
3,
Major
4, 5 categories for esports alone.
International Dota 2 Championship.
Get rid of all 5.
That is
And Valorant Champions.
bananas. Bananas, I say.
That is filler. That's padding.
Two categories. Best game direction, which recognizes extraordinary creativity.
Okay, so now we're to the big categories here.
and design. This year's nominees are
Best game direction.
Alan Wake 2,
So I don't like the idea of game direction, and I have the same criticism with the Oscars too. I don't like the idea of game of the direction and then like a best, a game of the year or best picture. Like just combine. It's almost like that way you can have your cake and eat it too. Like you can have okay, we'll have one as game direction and one as game of the year. Like I mean, just pick one for the game of the year. Like obviously that would have the best direction, right? I mean,
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know what that means. What does game direction mean?
well, this is what they say it means. Here, let me pull it up. Awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design.
Okay,
now,
so
wouldn't that just and then you go to the game of the year category,
it's the same thing.
which is recognizing the game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. So yeah,
It's
I mean,
the
isn't
same
that the best directed one?
That's the same fucking thing. Anyway, not Spider-Man. No Spider-Man.
Yeah. Okay. So here,
best-
show the game of the year category.
Best game direction: Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Best game direction I would give to Tears of the Kingdom. Yes, it was Breath of the Wild 1.5. Even I can admit that, but it greatly expanded upon Breath of the Wild to the point where it's like I would never go back and play Breath of the Wild. I would just play Tears of the Kingdom. So, game of the year. All right, let's see here. There's a couple of games missing though. Curious.
Yeah. One game in particular comes to mind.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Maybe it'll
Lit
be
the
here.
world on fire, but we'll talk about
Maybe
that.
it'll be here.
Game Awards are Alan Wake 2, developed by Remedy Entertainment. Baldur's Gate 3 from Larian Studios. Marvel's
Nope.
Spider-Man 2 from
No.
Insomniac Games.
Just no.
Resident Evil 4 from Capcom. Super Mario Bros. Wonder from Nintendo. And
So Resident Evil 4 was the one that wasn't in game direction. So I'm sorry, Capcom. I guess they don't care about your game direction.
have it. Those are your nominees for the Game
All right.
Awards. A highly competitive year for sure.
Okay. We're done with you, Geoffkeighley. Let's get into brass tacks.
All right.
Game of the year here. There are two games I don't agree with. I'm going to get into
Why
my
don't you put them up on the
tangent
screen
about
here too?
that. What's that?
Why don't you put them up just so people can see them? So just put them up on the screen again.
Yeah.
The game of the year altogether. Or you don't? Or do you have the website open?
Yeah, I have a nominations list right here.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
So, I loved Resident Evil 4. I think it is I know you and I disagree on this. Don't care. I think Resident Evil 4 Remake is a far superior product than the original game. Or the original iteration of the game, I should say. And Separate Ways gives credence to that, in my opinion. However, it is still a remake. I don't believe it belongs on the Game of the Year category. Spider-Man 2, I don't agree belongs in Game of the Year category. I do not think it meets the caliber of Game of the Year. And really, when we really did have a bloated 2023 in terms of video game releases, for better or worse, because that means that we've got a lot of games to play, and that's good. I mean, I can't remember the last time I spent the amount of money on video games in a year that I did this year. I mean, we had Tears of the Kingdom, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Dead Space Remake, Atomic Heart, Hogwarts Legacy, Spider-Man.
Which game?
2.
I don't remember that game.
Hogwarts Legacy. It's a little known indie title.
I don't. Maybe we should call Geoffkeighley. I don't know if they're aware that game came out.
Maybe not. Maybe they forgot about it. Super Mario Bros. Wonder. The Kirby remake came out this year. I can't remember which one. I have
That
it,
was
but
more
I
of a
can't remember.
port, though, right? So I mean, but still, yeah, I agree.
Well, I mean, it's still a remaster. I mean, it's no different than Resident Evil 4, in my opinion. It would meet the same qualifications. You had Pikmin 4. And granted, like a lot of those games, I'm not saying Pikmin 4 should be on Game of the Year. I'm not
Armored
saying
Core 6.
Armored Core 6. I would say you take Spider-Man 2 and Resident Evil 4 off this list. You have Alan Wake 2, okay, maybe, Baldur's Gate 3, Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Take
Legend
Alan
of
Wake
Zelda-
off the list, too. Nobody played it.
Okay, fine. Baldur's Gate 3, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, Armored Core 6, Hogwarts Legacy. I would even say Lies of P, because Lies of P
I'd be more comfortable with that. Yeah, I disagree on the point of Resident Evil 4, though. I think Resident Evil 4 is distinct enough from the original where it is. I would consider it to be a new product in its own way. It's a Yes, it's based off the original. It's kind of like a really good cover song. Is my comparison with it. But it's distinct. It has a different feel to it. It has a different kind of style to it. It feels different to play. It goes for a whole different tone in a lot of ways than the first game did. So I think it's distinct enough to be something separate. It's not a. It'd be different if it was a straight port. That would be totally different. Then it would not belong on this list. I agree with you then. But I think Resident Evil 4, in the same vein that the other Resident Evil remasters were, I think it deserves to be, sort of its own thing.
As of May 5th, 2023. Hold on a second. I got to double check. When did Hogwarts came out in February, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
At least for PlayStation and Xbox new consoles. Okay, so it came out
February 10th.
It came out on February 10th. So that was for PS5, Series X, and PC. As of May 5th, 2023, it sold 15 million copies and crossed $1 billion in total revenue. And you're gonna fucking snub them? Geoffkeighley? You're gonna snub Hogwarts Legacy, you fucking bigot? Do you not understand that there is a trans character in that video game that's portrayed by an actual trans individual? Fucking shame on you.
It's even worse than that though, because it is the number one selling game of the year.
I'm disgusted by the Video Game Awards personally. I don't know about you, Spectre, but I'm disgusted by such bigotry.
Clearly. I mean, I think it's obvious that was their agenda.
I think they clearly do not care about LGBTQ representation in the video game space, and therefore have snubbed Hogwarts Legacy. I mean, the fact that Hogwarts Legacy is not in any category at all. They're not in any category. No best RPG, no best adaptation, right? Because it's adapted off of an existing book and movie series. No best game direction, no game of the year, no narrative.
It wouldn't go in adaptation though, because that was like a movie.
Oh, that was the movie one, right? You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, so fine.
It's an action adventure game.
No action adventure, no art direction, no narrative,
no art direction, no sound,
no score and music. I mean, honestly, like, look, man, you and I are similar in age. We both were young kids when Harry Potter first came into the market. And I don't know about you, but I did read all the books. And it was kind of like our generation's Lord of the Rings. And like, you and I have, I'm assuming you've read the Lord of the Rings books. I know I have. Those books were amazing.
Of course, yeah.
But it's just kind of like, I
got halfway through the Harry Potter books. I think I stopped on the fourth one.
Yeah, that was
I kind of got out of the Goblet of Fire one. I think I just stopped caring at that one.
The Goblet of Fire was still a good book, but the fifth book was really... You got out at the right time, because the fifth book sucked. The fifth book really sucked. There's a lot of information.
I enjoyed it at the time. I'm not going to lie and say I didn't enjoy it. I mean, in the first three books I did enjoy. And I did enjoy the movies, too, up until a point. I mean, I'm definitely not a Harry Potter fan. You could say, but I mean, I went to the Wizarding World. I had a fun time there when I was at Universal. Because that was I wanted to go to like the Jurassic Park stuff there, but the Wizarding World was like brand new at the time, so I went there too. I had a good time, so I'm a casual-ish fan.
I was a Harry Potter fan from the age of 9 till about the age of 19 or 20, whenever the last movie came out. So it's like I started with the first book. Went to the first couple movies with a relative of mine. She enjoyed taking me to see the movies. And then I just kind of grew up with it. And then I grew out of it. Like, it was just one of those things like, yeah, okay. Like, my wife and my kids, they love Harry Potter. So I'm like, you guys are watching Harry Potter? I can't really watch this. the last couple movies and the last couple books were good. I will say that. The last 2 books of the series were amazing, and the last 2 movies were done pretty well. But in all seriousness, for this game to be completely snubbed by the Video Game Awards is really telling about the industry.
Yeah, I think, you know, we were, you know, speaking in jest there before, but I think the obvious reason why this game was overlooked and snubbed really for this for across every category, we could pick like at least easily 10 categories it could probably fit into on this list here, this very bloated list of categories especially. And you know, I think it was snubbed because, let's be honest, there was a lot of controversy around the game. Not really because of the game itself or the content of the game itself at all, but because of the creator of the intellectual property and her perceived, you know, break with a political you know, kind of a political group or of sorts. So and with her opinions on a
so
subject.
Because J.K. Rowling didn't toe the line. Therefore, this game doesn't get any recognition. I mean, there are developers. You think
even though she had nothing to do with this game whatsoever.
She had nothing to do with this game. She gave the permission for this game to be created, and that's the extent of her involvement. But you think of the...
I don't even know if she even gave that. Like, it probably was some lawyer or whoever manages her. Like, it's not like, I don't think J.K. Rowling was sitting there and they called her up and said, you know, whoever made it was like one. I can't remember who.
Well, she would have had to give some type of permission. She owns the rights.
I'm sure her agents or her whatever came up to her and said, "Oh, hey, they're going to make another Harry Potter game. This is like probably the." I mean, keep in mind, there's been Harry Potter games before too. It's like, you know, so it's like, hey, they're going to make another Harry Potter game. You're going to make them, you know, even you're going to be, you know, here's another 10, you know, 20, 30, $40 million coming your way. She's probably like, oh, great.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, whatever the nuance is about the scenario, the fact remains is she had no involvement in the creation of the game or the art direction or the script or anything of the game, and the only thing she did, whether it was through an attorney or it was herself directly, whatever, it doesn't matter. She gave permission for the game to be created. The game was created by countless developers, which you can tell had a lot of love for the series. Because if there's one thing I took away from Hogwarts Legacy, I did finish the game's main campaign. And while I have problems with it, the problems I have with it extend to any open world game where it's, you know, the collectathons. I can't stand those, man. And in Hogwarts Legacy, the collectathon is real. There's just so many fucking things to find and collect. It's just like, I don't care to find everything. I don't care. But when you were
I don't hate collectathons in general. I like them if they make the process of collecting things fun and rewarding. And I don't think this game really, I mean, with some of the things you collect it does, but for the most part it feels like a list of chores, not a list of fun things to do.
Right, which is generally how it is with these open world games nowadays. But anyway, they really captured the environment of the world as we know it through seeing it in the movies and reading it in the books. They did a phenomenal job. This game does not deserve to be snubbed. I mean, the Video Game Awards suck. You guys suck. And for any brotherhoods out there who want to complain about the baggage associated with this game, you're a fucking coward, honestly. Any of you brotherhoods or you YouTubers out there who are just saying like, oh, this game was a great game, but it's got some baggage with it.
I think you have a particular one in mind, but
shame on you for not standing up for a legitimately decent game. Because Hogwarts Legacy, look, I'll be honest, I didn't care about the campaign or the storyline. I don't know anything about the storyline. I skipped pretty much all of the cutscenes. But I did have fun with the combat. I did have fun with traversing the world. I did have fun with playing the game. Which is more than I can say with Spider-Man 2. Which it happens to be in pretty much all of the categories of this game. Or of these awards.
We really should have counted. I think Spider-Man's in legit almost half of these categories.
All right, let's count. We got 31 categories. We know that. So Spider-Man 2, 1, 2, Best narrative, 3. Best art direction, nope, not there. Best score and music, not there. Audio design, 4. Performance, 5. Innovation and accessibility, 6.
6.
Games for impact, no. Ongoing,
It
no.
should be. It should be in that category too.
Action game, no, it's not there. Action adventures, 7.
7.
RPG, I'm surprised it's not there. Fighting, no. Family, no. Sports racing, multiplayer, anticipated, blah blah blah. Okay, so it's 7 of the 31 categories. 5 of
Hey,
those
keep in mind that's a
categories-
bloated list of you have 5 categories of just
5
esports.
Right, 5 are just esports, and then you have your indie categories and stuff like that. So it's in 7 categories, and it's probably going to take home at least 1 or 2 of those awards.
Or more. And Hogwarts couldn't get 1 category, not 1.
But honestly, like, I haven't even finished. I started Atomic Heart, and then I was actually playing it about a month ago just because I was bored and looking for something to play, so I was replaying it again. I would almost say, having never finished Atomic Heart, that should be on Game of the Year over Spider-Man 2. Or even Resident Evil 4. But
well, it's good you brought up Atomic Heart too, because I believe that was also a controversy in and of itself as well too, because that was the
it didn't toe the line.
I was gonna say, wasn't that where was their development studio out of here? I thought
It's out of
weren't they
Russia.
Russian?
It's out of Russia.
It's out of Russia, yeah.
Yep. So it didn't toe the line. It didn't, and like even that gets no recognition.
Politically, yeah, that should be at the very least. Come on, 1 category for that.
Like yeah, it's got to be on something. Best action game, best action adventure. I mean, the
more we think about these categories, the worse it gets. There's no horror category. There's no first person shooter category or shooter category.
Well, what the fuck are they going to include in that? Call of Duty and Destiny?
There's a ton of games that come out. I mean, but but whatever. You know, I played and enjoyed when Bolt Gun was amazing, but yeah. So Atomic Heart, a shooter, but or at least put that in the RPG category or something. But I mean, it's just. I mean, I think we've proven that there's plenty of categories you could cut and prune from this. We could probably add on some legit genres here. You know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shit on this list. Speaking of Atomic Heart, I'm gonna have to buy that game physically because my Game Pass expired. And I do want to finish that game.
Congratulations.
I do want to finish that game because I actually enjoy it. It is a solid game. It's a very unique take on the dystopian BioShock style of games.
I was going to jump in and say I would appreciate I appreciate that you stand by your convictions and you're getting rid of Game Pass.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's like the only reason why I had existing subscriptions is because I would buy them in bulk when they went on sale for like Black Friday and holiday sales. But I just the last Atomic Heart aside, the last Game Pass game I played was Halo Infinite, which did that release in 2022 or 2021? I can't even remember.
I don't think anybody remembers that game now.
But it's just like I'm gonna look it up out of curiosity.
2021.
Okay, so that was the last game that I legitimately downloaded on Game Pass, and I hated it, which is a shame because Halo used to be a staple in the gaming culture. But yeah, it's just kind of like I don't need the only subscription. I haven't gotten rid of all subscriptions. The only subscription I'm keeping is my Nintendo Switch Online subscription. Because the cost is far more reasonable. It's like $20 a year. Or maybe it's it's $50 a year or something like that, but it gives me access to the emulators right through my Switch. I don't have to worry about, looking things up on the internet or anything like that. I just have all of my Nintendo games that I care about right there on the emulators, so I can go through and play them. That's the extent of it. I'm done with my PlayStation Plus expires, I think, in like March or April. Once that's done, I'm
Gonna let it
done.
go.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
let it go. I've never downloaded a game that was on PlayStation Plus. Most of the games that I care about, I own physically. So, yeah, that's just. I'm done with it. So, anyway, back to the video game awards. I think a lot of these categories, I'd say maybe about 15. Okay, let's go through. We got 31. Game of the Year obviously sticks around. Game Direction, yeah, you could probably get rid of that. Best Adaptation, get rid of that. Narrative, Art Direction, Score and Music, Audio Design, Performance.
I think you can get rid of at least half.
Ongoing Games, Community Support, that's 8. Indie Game, yeah, you can give indie games some kudos, except for
One
Dave.
indie game category, not two.
Right.
Like we have
One
right now.
indie game category, and not Dave the Diver.
Yeah, and real indie games. You have some sort of standard for that.
Right. Best Action Game. Maybe combine that into Best Action Adventure Game, not have two separate categories. Best RPG, Best Fighting Game, Best Family Game, Sim Strategy, Sports Racing Games. There is an audience for that, so I'm okay with that.
I'm fine with that, yeah.
Multiplayer, Anticipated.
Get rid of adaptation. Get rid of yeah.
So we're at 17 categories. So if you got everything else, we get 17 legitimate categories. I think that's fine. Geoffkeighley, your organization sucks. I can't wait to see you get trolled again on December 7th. Because it's gonna happen.
That is something to look forward to, though. Yeah, I mean, I mean, what's gonna happen this year? Who's gonna sneak onto the stage? Or
I mean,
it
happened again in the summer gaming event.
It did.
I don't remember exactly what happened again, but I think it was along the same lines of like Bill Clinton or some shit like that. I don't know.
They like rushed the stage, right?
Right, and it's just like whatever. Your events suck, Geoffkeighley. You know, you used to be a guy that people respected, and then you become completely corporatized. Corporatized? Is that a word? Is that a word, Spectre?
I think I would say sellout is probably the best way to describe it.
You're a fucking sellout, and fuck you for snubbing Hogwarts Legacy, dude.
And I think he's always been kind of seen as like sellout's kind of just been kind of just part of who he is. It's part of his identity.
Hogwarts Legacy made $1 billion in revenue, and you're just gonna be like, that game didn't exist. Like, what the fuck?
It didn't exist. Atomic Heart didn't exist either. Because like I said, they don't align with our politics, you know. So we have to pretend that we have to unperson them and cancel those games.
Well, I mean, at least with Atomic Heart, I can probably admit that it did not cross $1 billion in revenue.
It was not like a bestseller this year, but it was a visually impressive and distinct game. You had some fun playing it. It's something I would pick up as well too, eventually, probably too. And you know, it deserves at least some kind of mention, you know. But I mean, Hogwarts, without question, I think that's proof, you know, positive right there. This is politically motivated. There's no other reason or excuse why this wouldn't get at least one nomination in one category.
If Hogwarts Legacy had you trying to help a gay person ask their boyfriend out to homecoming, or if they would have had you play as a deaf black woman, it wouldn't have mattered
though. It wouldn't have mattered because they decided before the game released that this was persona non grata. They decided, you know, they're not gonna.
That's not entirely true. That's not entirely true because they did have it as a most anticipated game in last year's Game Awards. So it did get recognition by Geoffkeighley. So that's not entirely true. So
that was before the controversy emerged, though.
The controversy already existed then.
Yeah, but it wasn't being kind of signal boosted at the time.
Wasn't it though?
I mean, not to the same extent. It was more so like in the lead up. I remember the lead up to it, people went nuts.
Do me a favor. Watch the most anticipated games of 2023 from last year's Game Awards. When Harry Potter or Hogwarts Legacy gets announced, there's like a deafening silence amongst the crowd. Like, it's the controversy existed, and it existed in full force even back then. This game had no chance of getting any proper recognition from the powers that be. No matter what happened, I am happy that fans and you and I kind of bought this game out of protest against the protest, because
That's fair to say. Yeah.
I
It definitely got me more interested in the game.
It's just like, you know what? This game is definitely getting the wrong kind of buzz. I don't think it's that bad. And it wasn't. I don't, like I said, I skipped pretty much all the cutscenes. I couldn't tell you anything about the story. I didn't care about it. I had legitimate fun with the combat. It was a beautiful game. It really looked amazing. Really captured the essence of Hogwarts and the surrounding areas the way that we would know it from having seen the movies and read the books. This game getting snubbed we're going on a tangent at this point, but this game getting fucking snubbed is just, it's intentional, because this game should not have gotten snubbed. You have Spider-Man 2 on Game of the Year, Alan Wake 2 on Game of the Year. These games just came out about a month ago. You don't have Hogwarts Legacy? And then you have other YouTubers out there saying like, oh, there's baggage associated with fucking Hogwarts Legacy, so I get why it wasn't nominated at all. You're a coward.
I think there is I think there definitely is a recency bias to the Game Awards as well too. Yeah, games that came out earlier in the year don't tend to get as much focus. But I think it is
Resident Evil 4 came out in March.
That's true, but it's I mean, that is kind of part of it though, I think too. But it is the case here where I think it's just the fact that we don't see it anywhere, and not in one single category where it could easily pop up in like 10 of them, is, I think that should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah. So anyway, we will be live streaming, right? Are we going to live stream the Game Awards? I hope so.
Yes, we will.
Okay, because I don't want to have to sit through and watch them after they're already finished, to be honest.
Yeah, no, we'll live stream it that way. You know, we're getting our kind of our live, because it's almost impossible to avoid spoilers for it. So we have to just kind of watch it live, and I kind of like to watch it live as well too. Despite all the garbage associated with it, it's still kind of entertaining to watch. So we will be watching it live. We will be doing our own separate, kind of our own separate personal game of the year for the channel that we'll be doing after that eventually as well too. Before the end of the year,
we're gonna do a year in review episode. Maybe do that on New Year's Eve. I don't know. How's that sound?
That's a good idea. Yeah.
This year in review, I'm really, I thought Tears of the Kingdom was gonna be my game of the year, but I really loved Lies of P, and I'm really liking Mario Wonder. And it's tough for me personally. I have a lot of games. You had like 3 games to play this year, so you're lucky.
Wait, I played a bunch of. What are you talking about? I played a bunch.
I'm just teasing you. I'm just teasing you.
And there's some I just haven't even gotten to yet. Just cut off the Nintendo games because I don't care about Nintendo. at least modern Nintendo.
Sure. So. All in all, I think Zelda will, in terms of game of the year, if I'm being honest, I think Zelda will get game of the year. I think that'll be the safest bet that they don't receive any controversy from. And
I would say, I agree with you on that. I would say I don't think there would be any major upset if either Zelda or Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Or even Resident Evil. I don't think Mario would win, but if any one of those 4 would win, I don't think there would be a big.
No
Spider-Man. No Alan Wake. I think either one of those 2 choices would be.
I won't say no. Awful. I won't say no. Alan Wake. I haven't played it. I won't say no to it. I know you're adamant about Alan Wake 2. I'm not as adamant. I did enjoy the first game. I want a physical copy. Please, Remedy, get your head out of your asses and just do a physical copy. And then I'll buy your game. But yeah, I would say Baldur's Gate 3 or Zelda.
You know what's kind of hilarious too? Even about speaking of Baldur's Gate, they just announced they're doing like a physical PC copy of it. So we're gonna have a physical PC copy of Baldur's Gate 3, but you can't even get a disc, a PlayStation 5 or Xbox copy of Alan Wake 2. It's kind of funny to me.
Yeah, I mean that's I don't know what that is. If it's just the sign of our times.
It's the rare game that, like I said, it pissed off both crowds. It's kind of amazing. It pisses off console players like you because you don't have a disc, and you care about physical media, and it pisses off the PC crowd too because it's an Epic exclusive for God knows how long. So, it's really like kind of impressive. Like you pissed off everybody.
Yeah, and from what I've heard about it, it's got a lot of good blending between the original Alan Wake, and then it introduces elements from L.A. Noire. And I don't know about you, but I really liked L.A. Noire.
I like L.A. Noire a lot.
And it was just like, man, dude, you guys just like, I'm not gonna give you $70 for your digital game, dude. I'm not gonna do it. Like, just off of principle.
I'm not going to use a storefront that I don't want to use.
Right, and for you too, it's just like we're not going to do it. Give us a physical copy and put it on Steam.
And even then, like I said, I'm not into. Like I said, I wasn't into the first one. I think it's
as Cartman would say, stop making it lame and gay. Can we say that?
Yeah,
we're probably going to get demonetized. We're not monetized anyway.
There goes, yeah. Yep. It's over before it started.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't want to play. Yeah, like I said, I didn't care for the first game. I don't want to play Diet Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks is amazing, by the way. Watch the show. Watch Twin Peaks, the show. David Lynch is a genius. Watch the show. It's fantastic. But I don't want to play the Diet version of Twin Peaks here, especially by Remedy. Like I said, Remedy, you make beautiful looking game worlds, and you used to make good gameplay too with Max Payne, but now you don't really do much beyond that. I don't care for the stories in the games. I don't care for really much about them. Even the gameplay sucks now. Control was boring. Nothing about it was interesting to me. It was a bad SCP fan fiction. So yeah.
All right, well, that'll just about do it for the Video Game Award nominations. Any final thoughts from you, Spectre?
No, I know we came at this extremely harsh, and rightfully so.
Firm,
but
I would say firm but fair.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, and I mean, but hey, end of the day, we're still gonna watch the show because there might be some funny moments out of it. I mean, if nothing else, we're gonna get some trailers. I'm sure we'll probably get some new trailers for things that are coming out. But I stand by what we said. I think like I said, the biggest travesty here is snubbing a game, possibly two games with Atomic Heart included, just because of their the political, social realities surrounding the creation of those games, not even because of the games themselves. Which, in the case of Hogwarts, especially, is actually pretty. You think they would, it's very much of the political persuasion of the people that would that are going against. It kind of panders to them. The game itself does. It's just that the circumstances surrounding its creation, specifically the creator, are what turns off that crowd. So I think it's kind of ironic in a way. But yeah, no. And like you said, I agree with you 100%. I hope Spider-Man walks away with basically nothing. But I know it's not going to happen. If it wins some inconsequential nonsense category or whatever, just don't give it Game of the Year. Don't give it Best Direction, please, God.
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't deserve it. And I think with Zelda being in both of those categories, I don't think Spider-Man 2 has a prayer's chance in hell. Well, that about sums up my beliefs.
And I'll say personally, for me, one last thought too is I will be disappointed if Armored Core doesn't get that win for that one category.
I hope it does. I hope it does. I do. I'm pulling for your game in that one category it's in because I think it should. I haven't even played it, but it looks like a solid, fun action game. It's been a bloated year, man, and my expenses only go so far. So
I hear you.
I hope your game wins that category. I don't really have a horse's race in any of this. I'm just of the mindset: no Star Wars, no Spider-Man. That's all I'm at. With all that
Words
said,
to live by. Yeah.
please make sure you tune in to watch us on December 7th when we live stream the Video Game Awards of 2023. We may have content that releases beforehand. I got a bunch of new vinyls to talk about.
Oh, there we go.
Maybe we can get something done beforehand. If not, check us out on December 7th. Please.
I'll probably have a. I did get RoboCop as well too, so I probably will have a video of my thoughts on that.
Okay, cool. And then, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you like this kind of content. That's pretty much all I got.
I mean, we're pretty blunt and pretty honest of things here, and if that's not your thing, whatever, But I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I'm not gonna be like the Game Awards. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and make up a bunch of nonsense categories and pick winners and losers based off of my political opinion. Essentially,
Spider-Man 2 has really emboldened me. I'm not okay with towing the line anymore. Stop ruining my hobby. Stop ruining the characters that I care about. Their escapism exists for a reason. I don't want to deal with the reality of the world when I'm playing my video games. And if any of you want to comment and say otherwise and criticize us, go for it. We encourage it. We'll engage with you respectfully, but it's not going to change our opinions. It's not going to change our mindset. This is kind of where we're at now as a channel. Hopefully you guys appreciate that. There's a lot of good stuff out there. There's a lot of crap stuff out there. But with all that said... What do you got there, Spectre?
I was going to say, I don't want to become the channel that says everything's amazing and everything's incredible.
No, because it's not. Spider-Man 2...
Because it's really not.
Spider-Man 2 is literally a 4 out of 10 game. I don't give a shit what anybody says. It's literally, it doesn't do much to change from the 2018 game. The 2018 game is a 7.5 out of 10 game, meaning that it's a very adequately average game. It's fun. And it's a mid-title, but it's not a masterpiece. And maybe that'll be a video we do later down the line in terms of discussing video games that are true masterpieces. I'll tell you one thing. There's not a whole lot of games within the last 5 or 10 years that are true masterpieces. Despite what the media or these journalists will tell you, certainly nothing that's come out this year is a masterpiece. And I say that as a huge Zelda fan. And Tears of the Kingdom, I'd probably rank it about 9.5 out of 10. Still not a masterpiece. But with that said, yeah, we're not here to sugarcoat anything or tell you that everything is great. All these games are great. A lot of these games we haven't played ourselves, and we're not going to lie to you guys about that.
Yeah, and I'll point that out, for any that are on here, and I think we did, and it's I think 2023 was, I agree with the idea. It is a great year for games. There were some really high highs and some pretty dramatic lows, and
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2. But then we also had, you had your Zelda. I had my Armored Core as well. Despite any flaws there may have been in it, I think it was great to see that series revived. I am looking forward to playing Baldur's Gate 3. Resident Evil 4 was great. Dead Space remake was pretty great. So there's a lot of good stuff out there, but there also was crap as
Spider-Man
well too.
2.
So Spider-Man 2 in particular is that comes to mind, yeah. And also let's not let Starfield get away either too. Starfield should be on that list of crap too. So
that I don't know. I haven't played it. I will say that I'm leaning toward giving Lies of P my Game of the Year nomination, just because Zelda would be so cliche to give it to, and I love Zelda. I'm the Zelda guy of the channel. And that's not to say I think Tears of the Kingdom.
I would say go if you're hard on it, man. Because
I'm gonna go. I think I might. I gotta mull it over, but I'm gonna go with Lies of P as of this moment because I really like the environment. You and I are both fans of American McGee and those Alice games, and Lies of P really captures that type of storytelling with games like
that kind of sinister, fairy tale type of thing. Yeah, and
Right.
speaking of American McGee, we're never going to see Alice 3 anymore
Nope.
because he basically came out and admitted that it's not going to happen. So this is the best we have, I guess.
Yeah, this is the next runner-up, and it's a solid game. With all that said, we are the Game Reactionists. Be sure to check us out on December 7th when we live stream the Video Game Awards. I am Rorschach.
And I'm Spectre.
Thank you so much for watching, and have a beautiful night.